It said that in the West, you've got the good, the bad, and the ugly. And this is definitely true in the wild, wild Western Conference of the NBA. Last year saw the San Antonio Spurs win the West before ultimately losing in 7 games to Miami Heat in the NBA Finals. Who will be the best in the West next year? Oh, I'm not so sure, but with me today, I've got Lucas Frankel, Brian Coyle, and Andrew Park with me to decide who will be the number one. Now, Andrew Park, our LA expert, is coming in live. Who do you think will be number one next year?
For all intents and purposes, I think we have to be respectful here to the current Western Conference champions, and that is the San Antonio Spurs. Their team is going to be mostly intact. Yes, they're going to be a year older, but I think, at least for me personally, I'm past the point where I'm doubting the Spurs and Greg Popovich. I think as long as Tim Duncan and Greg Popovich are there, the Spurs will be one of the top teams in the West. And, I mean, they made some pretty good moves. They signed Marco Bellinelli. One of many moves, and I think they're in prime position to sign Andrew Kirilenko, who's not looking for a big deal, but he's looking for a multi-year contract. So I think right now the Spurs are the best team in the West, despite their age, despite everyone saying that Duncan's going to get too old, he's gonna tire out. But remember, Greg Popovich is very notorious for randomly resting his star players throughout the season, even though they're playing, let's say, the Miami Heat. If you remember this past season when he rested all his big stars. So I think they're definitely in prime position to take West's top spot once again this season.
Despite the fact that Manu Ginobili's finished as a player?
Well, we never know. We never know how many more miles you can get out of Manu Ginobili. I think we have yet to see that, and we have yet to make a decision on that. But I think out of just pure respect, the Spurs are the top team in the West.
And the only reason why they made the finals is because Westbrook got hurt. And if he doesn't get hurt, the Spurs don't even taste the finals.
So Lucas, wait. So Lucas, who do you have winning the West next year?
It's still the Oklahoma City Thunder. Do you want me to go through each team and explain why they're not going to be good?
Yeah, do what you want.
The San Antonio Spurs are getting older. Okay, Tim Duncan's going to be 38. We're going to play 20 minutes a game. Manu Ginobili, does he still have anything left? I don't know. They don't have enough firepower in that team, I feel. The Denver Nuggets, they lost Andre Iguodala and a great coach. I don't see them contending. The Los Angeles Clippers, people are excited about Doc Rivers, but does he and J.J. Redick really make them from a good team to a great team? I don't see that. The Memphis Grizzlies, they need more scoring. Golden State, will they be able to win close, tough, grinded-out playoff games? I don't know. They're too inconsistent during the playoffs. They can't win by shooting all the time. And Andre Iguodala's a nice addition, but does he really fix all their problems? I don't know about that. Houston, I'm not sold on Dwight Howard. Okay, people say that he may have turned the corner, but I don't believe it. To me, he's not a winner. He's an okay player. He makes them a little bit better, but they still need more. James Harden's a stud. I'm not arguing about James Harden. He's the real deal. But do they have other pieces that can elevate them past the Thunder? I don't know. Too many question marks for all these teams, which is why I think Durant and Westbrook, when they're healthy, they can't be beating the West.
So really, you're just out of options, and you just have to fall back on the Oklahoma City Thunder?
Kevin Durant is the second best player in the NBA, and when he's got Russell Westbrook there, the 1-2 punch, they can't be beat.
I mean, we'll have to see how Russell Westbrook's knee holds up after that catastrophic injury inflicted by Patrick Beverley last year.
It would have been a 6-week injury. It was not a devastating injury.
Hey, they said his recovery time took a lot longer than expected. Now, Brian, he's coming from live from Miami. Brian, who do you have winning the West?
See, Lucas, you got them winning, but you didn't give me a good reason why the Oklahoma City Thunder should, Kevin Durant aside, but they don't have Kevin Martin. Serge Ibaka really didn't improve. They've got no center offensively. If you're going to try to sell me on Kendrick Perkins, good luck. It's the LA Clippers is the best team right now. You keep Chris Paul, you add a Hall of Fame coach in Doc Rivers, you get Darren Collison, who's a starter in this league, to back Chris Paul up. You add a great guard like J.J. Redick. I just think the Clippers are set up for success, believe it or not.
Oh, wow. So, Brian, you've got the other LA team being the best team in the West?
The Lakers have no shot of being the best team in the West right now.
Oh, wow. So it might be the clip show that we're talking about next year. And now, with this crazy offseason, the Western Conference might be the one that's been the most shaken up, especially when you compare it to the relatively stagnant Eastern Conference. Now, for each one of you guys, I want to talk to you. Which team do you think is the most surprising one, the one we've got to keep our eye on out on next year? Lucas, you've got the floor.
It's the Minnesota Timberwolves, the team that's struggled the past few years. The combination of Ricky Rubio, who I'm very high on. He hasn't been able to stay healthy, but if he's healthy, he is one of the best passing point guards in the NBA, if not the best. Kevin Love, we know what he can do when he's healthy. They signed Kevin Martin, maybe a little bit overpaid, but he'll definitely help. Chase Budinger, before he got hurt last year, he was really, really playing very well. Derek Williams, 12.5 points, 6 boards a game last year. He's only going to improve. And they got Shabazz Muhammad, who, has his doubters, has his critics, but was a top high school recruit. It wasn't really a great situation at UCLA. Was I always answering a lot of questions about, his eligibility, all that stuff. But I really like what the Minnesota Timberwolves are doing. The core of Rubio, Love, and the additions of Budinger and Kevin Martin. I really like what's going on in Minnesota. Will they go deep into the playoffs? I don't know. Will they be a threat for the title? I don't believe so, but they will definitely be a playoff team this year. Absolutely.
Right. It'll definitely be interesting to see how Ricky Rubio does in a full season again in the NBA.
He'll be an all-star.
He's great.
Right. So then, Andrew, he just mentioned UCLA former grads. Do you have anything about that for your surprise team?
No, unfortunately I don't, but I will be staying in my wonderful home state of California. I know a lot of people don't consider them a surprise team, but I'm picking with the Golden State Warriors. Yes, they were a 6th seed last year. Yes, they reached the semifinals, but they weren't able to get past the Spurs due to, yes, I think Lucas mentioned this earlier, they didn't shoot all that well in the Western Conference semifinals. Why I think they're going to be a surprise team? I think they're going to break the top 3 of the Western Conference. This is why. They lacked serious on-ball defense, aside from Klay Thompson, who is by far their best perimeter defender, until they signed Andre Iguodala. Yes, Iggy doesn't have a shot, but he can do everything else really, really well at a really high efficiency rate. He can be that point forward when Steph Curry goes to the bench. He can be the defensive stopper that they can put on the other team's best player, and he finishes extremely well on the fast break. He does everything well. I just cannot say enough about Andre Iguodala. And yes, they lost Jarrett Jack. They lost Carl Landry, 2 essential pieces on that playoff run that made them so hot this past postseason. But they're doing all right. They're signing Tony Douglas, who is a great, gritty,
great. Tony Douglas,
gritty.
Tony Douglas has rarely been associated with the word
defender.
great.
He's suitable. He's a suitable backup. Okay, they just signed Jermaine O'Neal. Again, I don't know how long Jermaine O'Neal is going to stay on the floor. I don't know how long he's going to stay on the floor, but I mean, he's a suitable backup again. I think right now, and then they have a young core, very young core with Curry, Thompson, and Harrison Barnes, and I think Andre Iguodala's presence in the locker room is only going to push that forward.
Can I ask you a question?
What?
What happens when Klay Thompson and Steph Curry aren't hitting shots? How do they score?
They have Bogut in the paint. They have Iggy and Barnes who can make things happen on the fast break and who can put pressure defensively. And when your offense isn't happening, that's when the defense kicks in, and that's where Iguodala comes in. I think he's a huge wild card. He is the X factor of that team. I think although he started off really slowly in Denver, but I think right now in Golden State he's in a really good position with a great coach in Mark Jackson, and I think the Golden State Warriors are poised to go really far in this season.
All right, so all eyes will definitely be on the Golden State Warriors, especially on Steph Curry's ankles, where they seem to be paper thin year after year. Meanwhile, Andrew Bogut is in a contract year, so we'll definitely see if he has something to prove. Now, Brian, you're last. Who's your surprise team?
We're going to go to the Big Easy, man. I'm going to give you a starting 5 for the New Orleans Pelicans. It's pretty tough to deal with. You got Drew Holiday, you got Eric Gordon, who when he wants to play in healthy is a top shooting guard in this league. And then you add Tyreek Evans, who can score in bunches. You got Ryan Anderson, who's a dynamic 4, who can shoot. And then you add Anthony Davis, who really improved last season. So I'm looking at the New Orleans Pelicans right now. And kind of like a team, maybe a younger version of the Timberwolves. Like Lucas mentioned before, I agree with him that Minnesota is going to be good. But it's slowly but surely they're getting better. They add some more bench players. The Pelicans will not be a laughingstock anymore. This team will compete. I mean, Chough, I know they have your favorite player in Austin Rivers, but I think they're going to compete for that 7-8 seed in the West.
Don't you think that that the Pelicans are their backcourt is they got all these great players, You know,
Yeah.
but how are they going to find time for all these players? And you know, Anthony Davis as a big man, you know, he's a great defender, but can he provide consistent scoring in the paint? I mean, I think that they got a great backcourt, but can they find playing time for all these great scorers that they have?
I think they'll figure out a way, play small when they can against some teams, but it's not going to be. I think this is part of a 2-year, 3-year development plan, because adding Tyreek Evans and Drew Holiday, who are young guys, it's not like we're talking about 26, 27-year-old players here. We're talking about 24, 23-year-old guys here. They've got plenty of legs, and they'll slowly take it case year by year. I think they're going to get better and improve. They add some strength to that front court. You mentioned the back court's good now. They just got to figure out the backups in the front court. I think the Pelicans will be teams to watch, actually.
The Pelicans sent a major message to Austin Rivers with trading for Drew Holiday, because they do not believe in him at all. Because they just signed a point guard for the future.
I mean, let's be honest. Austin Rivers just had possibly the worst season by any rookie in NBA history. So I don't know.
That's low praise right now.
It's yeah. You don't when you have a historic season, that's not usually the title you want. But in any case, what's most surprising about the Western Conference might be that Andrew Park's LA Lakers aren't in the discussion, the Dallas Mavericks aren't in the discussion, the Houston Rockets aren't really in the discussion
Yes, they
anymore.
are.
Oh well,
You think so?
they
We
are.
haven't talked about them today, but they
I
are
talked
definitely
about them.
in
I
the
brought them
discussion.
up.
You
I
brought
was
them
the
to
one
the
who said
top.
them.
They're
No
top. They're a top
no one's
4
putting
team.
them at the top of
They're
the
top
throne
4
yet.
team.
Because of Dwight Howard. You know, if he decides that he wants to give it his all and win, you know, the combo of Harden and Howard could be something.
They're going to be incredible off the pick and roll. That's no doubt about that. You're going to have the best pick and roll combination probably in the league if Howard plays to his magic status and Harden continues to progress as one of the league's top stars. There's no doubt.
They got some nice pieces. Chandler Parsons.
Mm-hmm.
He's a top player.
They're very questionable at the point guard position, in my opinion, and they might have
My
to add a couple more
actual
pieces.
best player playing the point guard position.
Jeremy Lin he's okay.
He's okay.
He's okay.
Who's one of the?
Sure.
I'm just gonna say he was one of the best in the league last year at the pick and roll with Omer Ashik. Now just imagine a five-player rotation on the court with Lin, Harden, Chandler Bang. You got Omer Ashik and you got Dwight Howard, all protecting the rim, spacing it out, pick and rolls everywhere. I think it could be a high-octane offense, but that is definitely a discussion for a later day.
Omer Ashik, by the way, is not happy at all.
Yes, so
definitely.
you might not even see him.
He wants
on the
out.
court.
He wants out.
We'll see what happens, because this offseason, even though we're talking all about it, is still pretty brand new. Anyway, that's it for today. If you like what you saw, make sure you click the annotation here, subscribe, like the video, leave your comments down below where you'll be answered occasionally by our group of professional experts. If you want to read more of our articles, just go to www.thefinalpoints.com. Follow us on Twitter @thefinalpoints. Go to our Facebook page. All the links are down below. And until next time, stay tuned if you want to catch up with the Final Points.